Good morning, YouTube. How's everybody doing on this Good Friday morning? It's hot over here. Yesterday was 113. I'm sure it's going to be about the same today. Hot, hot, hot. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and watch the video to the end. Today we got a good story for you. And this was about many moons ago. So this is a Halloween story. Way in July. This is a Halloween story. So when I was young, if you watch my other videos, uh, you would know that I was a state ward, uh, locked up when I was young because of severe abuse by my parents. They should have been locked up, but they weren't. But it is what it is. So I was locked up in a place called Vista Maria. And if you watch my other videos, I always stated that I would never act right because I did not actually belong there. My parents belong locked up. My stepfather and my mother, my biological mother. Uh, I have a wonderful stepmother, Lola. How you doing? Uh, so this is young, so I'll say probably, I think Halloween is like October 31st. So I'm going to say about 3 or 4 months ahead of time, we asked the staff, could we uh, go out and buy Halloween outfits? They unequivocally said no. So everybody decided, okay, well, can we have a party for Halloween? So Nelson, who was the director, Dean, Wanda, Beth, all of them, I guess, had a meeting. Uh, it was so many staff. Uh, they said yes. So we said, well, can we make our own costumes and have whoever makes the best costume can, can they win some privileges or win some prizes or something like that? So they said, yeah, no problem. So I thought about it for weeks. I said, well, what costume rather, could I make that would shock the room? That I'm talking about totally shock the room, not my personality. You wouldn't have guessed that I was going to have this particular costume on. So for months and months, I'm going to say weeks and weeks, I thought about it because we only had a few months to get it together. So we had to kind of scrounge up material. They weren't buying us material, thank you. So we had to scrounge up our own materials and everything. And so I decided that I was going to sew my own costume. I wasn't going to let not one of the girls that I was locked up with know what I was doing. Kept it hid. It was only a few staff members that knew what I was doing, but they really didn't know what I was doing. They just knew what makeup that I wanted them to do for me. I wanted them to make me look like a older lady because I was very young and this costume that I was uh, making, kind of needed a little older touch. So when I walked in the room, you didn't immediately recognize me. So here we go. Now weeks are turning into months, and I'm in my room. I handmade my outfit because I knew how to sew. I learned how to sew at a very early age. So I was like, okay, I'm finding different, things to go with the costume and everything, and I'm just smiling to myself like I'm winning this competition. I don't think nobody can come up with an idea like I did. and especially one that was so far away from my personality. So all the girls, we're talking about what outfits you making, no, what costume are you making, right? And people was like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I kept mine. They said, what you doing? I tell them I was doing something else. Never revealed what I was actually going to do. So closer to Halloween, so we're asking the staff, can we get candy in bowls? Can we have a bobbing, bobbing for apples? Make it a real Halloween party, right? And so we got a few of those things. Some of those things we didn't get because some of the people in there, maybe even like myself, kind of messed up those privileges. But I still kept what I was doing to myself. And so the night comes of the party. So now let me go back a little bit. I made this costume by hand. I measured it. Oh my God. It was a stunning costume. And it was done all by hand out of material that I scrounged up from around the building. And I sold it, took time with it, made sure it was perfect. Like, you would never know that this costume was sewn by hand. You would have thought that it was sewn professionally, except for the color, right? The color, it was out cold, right? So here comes the night of the Halloween party. So I always am on time. Anybody that knows me, I'm going to be ahead of time. So purposely, I lay back. I said, I'm going to be the last one who arrives because nobody is not going to know who I am. I had a cane. I had this outfit on. Well, we're going to say it was a costume. And I walk in the room. Nobody at first knew who I was. They thought I was an old lady because I kind of bent over like I was an old lady, so nobody wouldn't knew what I was. So the costume that I had on was a nun's habit all the way to the floor. The killing part, the outfit was green. Now, nobody's ever seen a green that I know of. Seen a green nun's full regalia. So now evening goes on. We're having a little function or whatever. We're doing games. We got a little music. They let us have some music. So we just having a good time. We having a good time. The person that did my makeup, Rose, she made me look like a old lady with a brown eyeliner pencil. That's how good she was. She made a young girl look like an old lady. She really should have been in show business, but she was passionate about taking care of us girls and getting us together. She was one of my favorite staff. Dean Reed was my first. Rose was my second. I do have a crazy story about Rose. Uh, but that's not for today. So at the end, well, I'm going to say when I walked in, nobody knew who I was. Then all of a sudden, I rose up, even though because I didn't need the cane. And they was like, oh my God, oh my God. You know how young girls are. They was like, that's Val, that's Val. Well, they used to call me Ducky. That was my nickname. So if anybody from Vista Maria back in the 70s remembers Val, they will remember her as Ducky because they gave me the nickname. Said my lips was big. They every present I got had a duck in it. gold ring, earrings, necklaces, just whatnots. All of it had a duck. I didn't mind, right? But nobody has ever called me that name after that. So salute to them. They called me Ducky because I had big lips. And so at the end, of course, we had judging. And I think they had the staff judge. I'm not sure if the girls were judging also. I'm not positive. Can't remember that part. But I do remember when they said the winner is Valerie Brunson for the nun outfit because it was green. I had the white. It looked just like any other nun outfit except it was green. I had made it out of some type of felt material. Pretty much uncomfortable, but it was a felt material. I had it down to the T. If I was outside of this building, no one would have known who I was. And I won the contest. And that is my Halloween story from so long ago. And I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Like, comment, share, subscribe, watch the video to the end. Because most of the time, my videos don't get good to the end. So if you stop by the channel, listen to the end because sometimes it's juicy in the beginning, sometimes it's juicy in the end. But hey, check me out later, YouTube.